My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, in these days, we are on the doors of Ramadan, a time of happiness for everybody. And I want you to pay attention to the word everybody, because it's not just the true believers who are happy with these days. Also the weak believer, also the munafiq, the hypocrites, and even the disbelievers. Everybody. The disbelievers, the ones who work with you in the society, they're a little bit upset because the stores are going to be closed down. They can't eat during the day. But they say, at least the Muslims are honest during Ramadan. They don't lie like they used to. They don't, when they say inshallah, they do it during Ramadan. They don't cheat during Ramadan. So they like that. The munafiqeen, they're thrilled during these days because they've been working for an entire year to corrupt you and your Ramadan, to corrupt your household. They're putting for you the most beautiful films during Ramadan. 1 year in the working to be released to you during this month. The best TV shows. Every single day it comes on. So you can make sure that during Taraweeh, after the first couple of days, Shaitan will come and cake you so you won't go pray Taraweeh. So you can go with them to the hellfire. So they're happy with this day too. The weak Muslims, they're happy because it's a time for partying during the night times, where they go and they hang out during the late nights and have all these games they play and all these customs they do. Tents where they listen to music and watch all these movies and do things. A'udhu billah. But the true believer, the true Muslim, during these days, he's also happy. He's happy by the fact that he knows that as soon as Ramadan comes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open up the doors of the paradise. And He will close subhanahu wa ta'ala the doors of the hellfire. And He will shackle the shayateen, the major shayateen. The small ones are still around, so pay attention to that. What's meant by the hadith, the marada from the shayateen, meaning the big guys, the ones in charge. But the little soldiers are still there. And the soldiers from the human beings are still there to try to make you go away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during this blessed month. The true believer, he's excited during these days because he knows that every night during Ramadan there will be a caller who will call out, Ya baghi al-khayr aqbil, oh the doer of good, come. Wa ya baghi al-shar, and the doer of evil, stop. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will have during every single night of the month of Ramadan, utaqa min an-nar, those who are freed from the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all from them. The Muslim is excited when he hears this news. He knows he's about to enter a month of maghfirah, of forgiveness, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam promised us there's 3 opportunities during this blessed month for us to have our sins forgiven. He said alayhi salatu wassalam, Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaba ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbih. That whoever fasts the days of Ramadan through his iman, his belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his ihtisab, meaning he wants the reward, the ajr from Allah, his past sins will be forgiven. That's the first opportunity. The same hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, but instead of man sama, whoever fasts, he said man qama, whoever prays, meaning the night prayer, during the month of Ramadan. Also the two same conditions, through his iman and his hoping to get the reward, his ihtisab, his past sins will be forgiven. And yet another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever prays Laylatul Qadr, through his iman and his ihtisab that his past sins will be forgiven. 3 opportunities. The Muslims are excited because they know during this month there's a night that's better than 1,000 months. خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ. Whoever is praying and worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that night, 1,000 months of worship, he'll have in the scale of his good deeds on the day of judgment. The Muslims are excited because they know that this is the month of the Quran. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. The month of Ramadan where the Quran was sent down. They follow in the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who used to recite more of the Quran during Ramadan, and the footsteps of the scholars of Islam who would stop teaching during the month of Ramadan just to focus on reciting the Quran. My dear brothers in Islam, as we focus on the preparation for this month, we focus on we're about to enter into the month of Ramadan. We need to remind ourselves. We need to remind ourselves that there's no guarantee that we're actually going to enter into Ramadan this year. We could go out today or tomorrow and not enter into Ramadan. But, inshallah ta'ala, through our intention, we intend to benefit from this Ramadan. We're preparing. We're excited about this Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we were to die before Ramadan, He'll give us the reward for what we intended, inshallah. And we need to remind ourselves as well that this Ramadan, if we're blessed to enter into Ramadan and to fast at all, inshallah, that it could be our last Ramadan. How many people do you know or that you've heard about who are now 6 feet deep under the dirt? They were with us last Ramadan, but they're not with us this year. You need to focus on that. Remind yourself, take full advantage of this Ramadan. Preparation, preparation, preparation is the key. Prepare yourself. Think about it mentally. What do you want to do? Write it down. Put out your goals. Say, this month, this Ramadan, I'm going to do this and this. I'm going to read this much of the Quran. I'm going to do this many good deeds. I'm going to go for Umrah. I'm going to visit sick people. Whatever type of good deeds you want to do. I'm going to give more sadaqah. Every time I see a worker on the street, I'm going to give him 5 riyals. I'm going to give sadaqah to send it to Syria, to anywhere else, to the people in need. I'm going to give this much money of sadaqah during the month. I'm going to pray Taraweeh every night. I'm going to wake up early and read more Quran during the night. Whatever your plans are, write it down. Have goals. And be careful of the trap of shaitan that so many Muslims follow into. Because Ramadan, it's 30 days or 29 days. So it's just like a marathon. You don't sprint when you run a marathon. If you want to finish the marathon, you have to have a steady pace all the way through. Too many Muslims, what they do when it comes time for Ramadan, they fly into the month, so excited. Do so many good deeds. But unfortunately, they die down at the end and towards the middle. But don't forget, that night that is better than 1,000 months, it's in the last 10 days. So make sure you start off on a steady pace and you finish on a steady pace. Prepare yourself for what's going to come, inshallah ta'ala, and Allah knows best.